Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the 7-Minute Takeover, where we chat all things acquisitions. We're your hosts. I'm Liz Prey.
I'm Eamonn Gamble.
Hi, folks. Today we are covering several myths that come up on a regular basis with folks that we work with. And that is number one, how much experience do you need in the industry that you're looking to buy in? And number two is that most people who acquire a business are naturally confident people. And how do you go into this process with that confidence?
Yeah, this is all kind of revolving around the idea of imposter syndrome. We definitely hear from a lot of our buyers that they feel like imposters when they walk into a room, talk to a business broker, talk to a seller. Like, what do I know about this industry that I've never worked in? Am I being a fool by even being here? And so I think we're here to address that from, like you said, Liz, two angles. Industry experience, is it necessary? And are successful buyers really confident people? So let's start with the industry experience side. Is it true that a business buyer needs to have industry experience to be successful?
It is to a degree or in certain situations. So we were chatting before we jumped on here. Eamonn made a great example about, the trucking company was started by a trucker. Does it need to be acquired by a trucker? So someone from the trucking industry. And so, companies evolve and they need different types of leadership at different levels of their growth. And so in some industries, yes, you absolutely do need to have that experience, that industry experience, in order to take over that company. But what's more important are some of the softer skills that come in the form of leadership.
Yeah, so quite often that's going to be things like strategic planning, financial planning, growth mindset, and an ability to learn quickly, people management, sales. You're probably the top sales leader in a company when you're the CEO. So a lot of these things, there's nuance to it in each industry and in each type of environment, but those are largely transferable skills that you can bring to the table regardless of kind of what sector you came from previously.
Yeah. And your experience may not be a carbon copy of the experience needed to run the business, but you need to be able to relate your previous background and career to the organization that you're moving into. And it's going to be really important, not just to convince the seller that you're the right fit to take over the operations, but for your investors or the lender as well.
Yeah. So, if you feel like you're missing experience, a specific experience that is required for the company to be successful going forward, come up with a plan, convince yourself, then you'll be able to convince those lenders and those investors that, hey, that staff member can cover for that technical expertise I'm lacking, or we're bringing in a partner, or my board of advisors has that type of expertise. Come up with a plan and see if you believe it.
Yeah, get your bases covered by the people that you surround yourself with if you recognize that you're missing something really critical to run that business. So it can be overcome.
Okay, so second myth was only confident people are successful in business acquisitions. What do we think about that one?
What do we think? We see a lot of first-time buyers have a bit of paralysis before they really jump into the arena and start in this process. It's completely normal to have some form of imposter syndrome as you start this process. Most people who buy their first business don't come from an M&A or private equity background. They don't understand the process. So wrapping yourself around the knowledge to start this process is one of the first things to do. And well, you're listening to this podcast, so hopefully you've found some of our other episodes and that's been helpful for you. But it really is quite normal for people to feel like a fish out of water, like they're out of their skin in this process. It's new, it's normal. And there are certain stage gates that we often see a little bit of confidence shaking. And that happens usually before anyone's approached or interacted with a broker. So that first broker introduction is kind of one of those thresholds to get over, is starting to talk to brokers. And there's a number of other stage gates that we'll get into in a moment here. But anything else around the imposter syndrome that comes to mind?
I think, to be perfectly transparent, I think confident people do have a big advantage when it comes to business acquisitions. To a large degree, it is a confidence game. You know, you need to convince investors and lenders of your ability to execute. And, you know, if you have a caveat after every sentence saying, "Oh, I hope this happens," you know, it's not going to inspire a lot of confidence in those partners or in the seller. Does that mean you have to be supremely confident in every situation? Absolutely not. In fact, I think that probably is going to get you in trouble.
Coming across too confident can
Or
bite you as well.
being yourself too confident and just kind of waving away issues that you see in the due diligence process may come back to bite you. So there's a balance of, I think, being vulnerable around advisors, around trusted people in your network, to yourself, understanding that, you know, there are issues that need to be overcome, coming up with a strategy, testing it with people, and then by the time you go to communicate it to a different party, you sound confident because you've done the work.
Yeah. We also recognize that people who naturally do well in this space have the confidence in themselves that they can solve problems, that they can find the resources, they can tap into the right mentors and advisors. They're going to find the answers. They're going to get through any of the blocks that they have, and they're just going to find the answer to whatever it is. And they've got that tenacity and that approach to life in general and business in general, is that, you know, if I don't know it, I'm going to figure it out. So that is certainly something that we do see in the confidence characteristics. So back to the stage gates, though, we do typically see a bit of hesitation or discomfort at certain stages. And those stages are the first time someone ever talks to a broker, the first time they ever put in their first letter of intent, the first time they ever have to sign a personal guarantee, and usually coming around the stage of when they have to waive due diligence, the due diligence conditions, and waive that satisfactory condition. So those are the core ones that we see. So a lot of those come around to, you know, okay, I'm feeling the sense of discomfort. And what are some, we were chatting earlier about some ways to really identify and how to get through those blockers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, you know, again, it all comes down to preparedness and having discussed any of those discomforts with trusted partners. Now, at the end of the day, you're the one that's signing the personal guarantee. You're the one that's taking that risk. So I think, you know, if you're feeling that spidey sense like something's just off,
Trust it.
Trust your gut, but just know that you are going to be challenged in terms of your comfort with situations throughout this process, like Liz mentioned. And so just because you're feeling a little uneasy, trying to discern, you know, is that unease because something's wrong, or just unease because, hey, you know, you're about to go over that roller coaster and we all get a little bit of stomach butterflies at that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a little bit of knowing your own confidence level and being able to tell within yourself, like, okay, is this my own confidence barriers that are you know, preventing me from proceeding, or is this really something that my gut instinct is telling me isn't quite right, and I need to dig in and evaluate this next stage a little bit more. So a little bit of deciphering between those two kind of emotions, or, you know, even your body will tell you a lot about what these emotions are coming up to as well. So it's knowing yourself in the process.
So imposter syndrome, completely normal. Confidence required. Industry experience, you know, as long as there's a plan, you can get by.
Can be positioned and planned for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's helped to identify some of these feelings and emotions in yourself a little bit more in a way that's related to acquisitions. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, please be sure to subscribe, follow us on social media, and check out our website at villagewellth.com.